Hello, everybody. It is Tuesday, September 9th, and welcome back to the Nick Watkins Show. I'm Nick Watkins, and let's get into it. There were a lot of positive things that came out of yesterday and that happened earlier today for the 49ers and the Giants. We're going to discuss them both, but first, starting with the Niners. And the positive news for the 49ers is that we finally cut Jake Moody, the unreliable kicker, after he had one field goal blocked and before that missed a 27-yard chip shot earlier in the game in week one against Seattle. Like I was saying before, I think it was yesterday, I am a pretty positive person and I try and root for other people to succeed, and I'm happy for them when they have success. But at some point, it's like enough is enough with this guy. We gave him so many chances, and while I'd like to see him succeed, we are not succeeding as a team because of him, and he has to go. And I think the 49ers and Kyle and John finally recognized that, and he's gone. And unlike his kicks, he will not be missed. Um, so hope he finds some success elsewhere, but we need to succeed now, and he's not helping. So thankfully, he is gone. It's unfortunate we spent a third round pick on him. He was supposed to be Robbie Gold's replacement. I love Robbie Gold as much as my friends do as well. We always talk about how he's better than Moody. And I before when it first started this talk, I was defending him like, yeah, he's good though, but he can kick from very far away. But that, and then yesterday, I was fully on board on their side on Sunday when he missed that kick. It's like, come on, that's less than an extra point. So I don't know who we're gonna sign. I know Justin Tucker is a free agent and his suspension will be up in week 7. Maybe that's an option. Justin Tucker is one of, if not the best kickers of all time. I mean, he's incredible. The consistency he did was, he was inconsistent last year, unfortunately. Um, but he's had a Hall of Fame career. Um, and there's plenty of other options. Like kickers, you saw Matt Prater. He came off the couch for the Bills, and he kicked many field goals, had a game winner. And, I don't know who they're going to get. Hopefully, someone good, but at this point, anyone's better than Jake Moody. So that is the positive news for the 49ers. And then, as well, another bit of information is actually, there's two more that I forgot about. Number one is Kendrick Bourne is back. We signed him. Kendrick Bourne, who was on the 2019 Super Bowl team and also 2020. Kendrick Bourne, one of Kyle Shanahan's favorites. He was like Jawan before Jawan. So it's, especially with Jawan being out, it's a nice option to have. Someone who can, score touchdowns for us and be a viable option on third down and whatnot. So happy that KB is back. And the other positive news is Colton McKivitz got extended. It's a 3-year extension worth 45 million, so 15 a year. When you think about it, I'm pretty sure the Commanders, or I think it's the Commanders. I'm not sure where he is, but Javon Kinlaw, who was our first round pick back in 2020, he's making $15 million a year to be a backup. So probably a steal. I mean, McKivitz, he's not the best tackle in the league, but he's definitely not the worst. He's a solid right tackle with Trent on the other side. So it's nice to have our bookends locked up. And I'm very happy for him and for his family and all that. And so Colton McKivitz, he's going to be a Niner for the next 3 years, and that's good. That's very good. And then, of course, with the Niners, they wouldn't be talking about the 49ers without bringing up injuries. George Kittle, he's going to be headed to the IR for a couple of weeks with a hamstring issue. I have him in fantasy, but above that, he's such a big part in our team, and it's very unfortunate he's going to be out for a bit of time. And he's just a good player, and we're better in all aspects of the game when he's out there. I'm sure we're gonna survive without him, but it might be a little bit harder to flourish when he's not on the field. And then sticking to the offensive side of the ball, Brock Purdy also has an injury. He's questionable for week 2 against the Saints. He has a shoulder injury and a toe injury, and Shanahan said that the toe injury was more severe than the shoulder. So hopefully it's nothing, and he'll be out there for week 2 against the Saints. But if not, I still feel confident in this team, especially because, no disrespect to New Orleans, but they're not the best team in the league. And if you think about who the backup is for Purdy, it's Mac Jones, who, if you don't know, when the 49ers traded up in the 2021 draft to number 3 overall to try and draft a quarterback and who would replace Jimmy Garoppolo, Shanahan wanted Mac Jones, but then he talked himself out of it and drafted Trey Lance because Mac Jones was, in his view, like all the best things that Jimmy did, Mac Jones had without any of the Garoppolo weaknesses. And so I'm fully confident in Mac Jones to be able to run this system. Will he be as good as Purdy? No, but I think he'll be better than most backups in the league. I always liked Mac Jones, and so I think he'll be a good backup. And if he plays on Sunday, I'm sure he'll do well. He's really the perfect backup for this system because he's like I said, he's like Jimmy, but without many of the stuff that made Jimmy so frustrating at times. But we love Jimmy Garoppolo here on the Nick Watkins Show. We love everybody in the Nick Watkins Show except Jake Moody. Um, but that's the Niners news. Like I said, week 2 will be in New Orleans against the Saints. Looking forward to that. Looking forward to another great game. And then speaking of football, I forgot about this as well. Not forget about, but I want to talk about it. Whatever. Moving on to Monday Night Football, which was last night, and the Bears lost to the Vikings, and that was 27-24. Let me double check that. 27-24 Vikings. I had work for the first quarter, but I watched the rest of the game. And what really stood out to me was the Bears really dominated the first quarter from watching the highlights. I watched the highlights. And they were in control for the first 3 quarters of the game. And really the first half, they had a pick six directly after halftime. And the Vikings just completely dominated the fourth quarter of the game. Outscored the Bears 21-7. So that's 3 touchdowns in 1 quarter. And they ended up winning the game. J.J. McCarthy was impressive in the last quarter. And the Vikings beat the Bears in first Monday Night Football of the season. So it was a good game. There were lots of good games. Week 1 is over after this game. And there were a lot of good games in week 1. So I'm going to be thankful for. Good football is a blessing, and we should not take it for granted. Anytime there's a good game, when you're watching it, like, wow, this is a good game. And then recognize that and enjoy it even more. So that's football. And also, we're going to move into baseball now. Talking about the Giants, who won last night against the D-backs. Giants, 11 runs on 12 hits, 2 errors. D-backs, 5 runs on 8 hits, 1 error. And it was a good win for the Giants, especially because of how they did it. Giants hit 5 homers in the game. Jung Lee had a homer. Ramos, Dom Smith, Chappie, and Patrick Bailey. And when you think of the Giants' power guys, you don't really think of Jung Hoo and Patrick Bailey. But they had homers. 5 homers against the D-backs. And that is really a good sign, especially considering how Saturday and Sunday's games went against the Cardinals, where we didn't hit any homers, and we lost. So since the start of September, the Giants are undefeated when they hit a home run in the game. So as long as we can keep that up, I don't know how long we can keep it up. If we can hit a homer every game, but when we do hit homers, we win games, and we like homers. Who doesn't like a good homer? But Logan Webb got the win, and he was also impressive. He went 6 innings, 5 hits, 4 runs, but only 1 earned run because in the second inning the bases were loaded, and Christian Koss made an error, and that allowed 3 runs to score. But don't worry, Christian Koss redeemed himself. He had 2 RBIs in the night, including which came from a bases loaded single, or it was a double actually. But so Christian Koss redeemed himself, so don't worry about that. And then the other part of the game for Webby that was good is he struck out 7, and in doing so, reached 200 strikeouts on the season for the first time in his career. He's never done it before. He had never done it before, but he needed 6. He got 7. So Logan Webb's sitting at 201 strikeouts, which is third most in the league. I'm very proud of him. Proud of you, Webby. I know you're not watching, but um, is very. He was already a great pitcher. Like he almost won a Cy Young, and I think he should have won a Cy Young without striking anybody out. He barely had any strikeouts, but now this year he's just been ramping up the strikeouts. And when you can add that part to your game, he's just dominant. And we need a dominant pitcher if we're going to um, make the playoffs. Speaking of which, the Mets ended up losing yesterday to the Phillies in a 1-0 game, and that means the Mets have lost 3 in a row. And when we snapped the streak yesterday, we gained a game on the New York Mets. We're only 3 games back in the division, or not the division, the wild card. But in the division, however, we are 7 games back of LA. This might be crazy to say. If we win all 7, we play the Dodgers 7 times. And if we win all of those games, then hypothetically, we'd be tied for the division. I have no belief at all that's going to happen. But as long as we win the majority of our games, we play the Rockies 3 more times, the Diamondbacks at least 5 more times. I'm going to take advantage of these games while they're here against lesser opponents, like the D-backs, who we, again, go against today and we played yesterday. So that's what we're looking for. Looking for wins against everybody. Doesn't matter who. Everybody's going to get some. Everybody's going to catch some of these hands that the Giants are throwing. These haymakers, home runs. I don't know what I'm talking about. But looking to keep getting wins, keep getting win streaks, stacking these wins, building off of it, and just inching closer to New York, who play the Phillies. Again, I believe they play them. Okay, well, they have today and tomorrow. They play the Phillies and they go to Cleveland. The Mets do. So, looking for wins. That's the name of the game right now is wins. And I'm kind of just repeating myself, which means it's a good time to end this video. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.